And welcome to another show of Don't Get This Twisted. I am Rob, along with my co-host Tina. How you doing, Tina?
I'm good, Rob. How are you?
Absolutely positive. And going on that, we're going to talk about positivity today because, hey, we're living in a world where it's very hard to be positive. And well, we're going to bring some friends along today. So without further ado, we're going to have Eddie Rey on. He's a friend of Tina's and he's pushing positivity, which these days is the greatest of things. What do you think about that, Tina?
I think it's about time we did something like this.
Yes, because we have had a couple of downer shows. And hey, that's just reality. I mean, listen, by the time you are going to hear this, where we've talked about sex, friendships, coffee, and childhood trauma. So that being said, let's have a little positivity in our life. And with no further ado, hello, Eddie.
Hey, Eddie.
Hello. Hey, Rob. Hey, Tina. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thank you for being on.
Yes. So why don't you give us a little background?
Problem. Thank you for having me.
Of who you are.
Okay. For starters, and to ball it up, I guess I would say I'm a 34-year-old ball of sunshine now. Energy, sunshine, and too much.
And too much is in too much energy or too much positivity?
Too much of
everything?
Of anything. I can push anything. I just am energy. I love to be a positive light in people's life. I love to spread laughter. I spent a lot of time in banks and my previous work background, working for Bank of America, stuff like that, suit and tie, little too grown, I would say. And I just had to learn to be lax and enjoy life, I guess, a little more. So that's what I'm doing.
Nice. And you're also an influencer on social media.
So far, I'm gaining a little bit of a following. TikTok. I started doing TikToks out of boredom and just to keep my mind busy and off of life's problems. Just random fun. Like I said, I like to entertain. I've always been a natural entertainer to friends and family. I've always been a voice, I would say. Always had a fair opinion, always had some type of say in conversations all around me. And I feel like for the most part, I've always been a positive influence on it. So I kind of spread that onto TikTok and it's getting a little bit of a run, a little bit of followers, and I'm enjoying it. It's fun for me.
Yeah, I would say these days, TikTok's such a huge thing. Obviously with social media, it's an easier way to, at least if you're going to have some kind of positive outlook or positive push, it's a much easier space to get that to people. Obviously, I think with Facebook and Instagram being a little more picture based, or at least Instagram, and with Facebook, obviously you can post videos, which is great. But I'm thinking TikTok and YouTube are the way to go if you're going to push that vocal positivity, trying to get that out to the world. It's a much easier place.
Absolutely.
It's turning into, it's definitely turning into something that you can use for anything. I mean, marketing, advertising, like I said, random fun, positivity. It's getting it. I would say it's pretty big. It's gonna have a nice run. I don't see it ending anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't either. I think that there's huge, influence there that you can push. There's the bad part of that, and there is a good part of that. I think that there's keeping it to where you're trying to have a message that it isn't a horrible thing is great these days. Because the world is not a positive place right now. Obviously, coming out of a 2-year, almost 3-year pandemic that for some reason they've decided just to shut off and start the world again. You know, it's nice to at least have something out there that people can kind of lean on and go, okay, look, you know, life isn't the greatest, but, and if you can have somebody like you who's doing their best to at least show you like, hey, yeah, life can be shitty, but at least there's a ray of sunshine and there's somebody there going, hey, look, things are going to get better.
Absolutely. Do you
definitely
your videos are what I've seen, or like you like singing and dancing, or you hanging with your kids? I believe those are your kids or family members. And
I have 2 young boys. They're 14 and 9. And again, I try to do it for them to give them, show them that it's okay to express themselves. You know, I've noticed with technology nowadays and the way the world's going, it's everybody's so sheltered and closed off and in their phones or in their tablets. And that's why I do the goofy stuff. I have no niche for TikTok. I don't have nothing that I, stay specific on. Like I said, I do like the dancing and the singing, and I make random video clips to promote being your own fan, becoming your own fan. I think it's important for people to be a fan of themselves, you know, first and foremost. That's, when you think of your heroes and your favorite artists, you know, your favorite singers, your favorite actors, all that good stuff. What do they bring to you? They bring, you know, feelings of joy and happiness, and you want to watch them. You want more of them. So why not want more of yourself? You know, and why not turn that into a healthy, you know, form of positivity in life that you can ingest at your own pace, and you can ingest and enjoy ingesting. You know, it's good for you. So again, I mean, I throw on there whatever I'm doing. I've had videos removed at times just because I have a loose mouth at times. But again, I just promote being real. I mean, just do you without having to think too much about, you know, be mindful, of course, but don't be too afraid to just do whatever you're doing, do what you're feeling, do it your way.
I think that's a good message. I've always been the person that does things my way. It's often got me into a lot of trouble, but I have always stood behind it and said, well, this is just what I'm doing. And if you don't like it, don't look. And I think it's better to march to the beat of your own drum.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I speaking of that, I had gotten a tattoo at a party a couple of years ago. And that's why I say never invite your, he was the guy that used to sell us weed back in the day. And I didn't really smoke weed, but it was always for my parties. So I say never invite your drug dealer to your parties, because as soon as everybody's drunk and, you know, smoking and having a great time, and you're like, hey, you have a tattoo, you're the tattoo guy, bring out your machine, let's do it right here. I woke up with the worst tattoo on my arm in the morning, not remembering a bit of it. And it said something to the beat, to my own beat or something on my arm. It was supposed to be, you know, have a little music in it, but also have like a positive little message. I don't know what I was doing. I had to get it covered up. I blotched it out. It was never invite your drug dealer to your parties. Let him do his delivery and send him on his way.
That's funny.
But yeah, I mean, it's very important to stand behind who you are. You know, we need to continue to be individuals, you know, and show people that it's okay to have a difference of opinion. It's okay to think differently. It's okay to like different things. It's okay to find your own peace within you. You know, be your best friend, be your biggest fan. And I feel like I finally found that after searching for it for a long time. And COVID-19, I really have to thank for it. I'll tell you a quick little gist of it. I was out of an 8-year relationship that was horrible. It was killing me physically, mentally, emotionally. I was drained. 2 weeks after I did my split from my business and my partner, I got in a car accident that put me in the hospital for a month. I was convinced I was on my deathbed. I was the most negative, person. I wanted to die. The only thing that kept me through was God and my boys. And when I came out, I said, yeah, I'm single. I love to dance. I love to entertain. So I said, oh man, this is going to be awesome. I get to go clubbing again and, do the single thing. Then COVID-19 hits, everything's closed. I didn't know what to do. So I was getting drunk and smoking weed, getting high of all sorts at the beach as much as I could until we were kicked off by police or whoever told us to. I had a small group of friends that we would just go to the beach and go our separate ways. And I sat there with a notepad, my headphones, and my phone and did a little bit of exercising, did some crying, did some soul searching, some praying, and a lot of writing. And I felt like it was the best for me. I decided that if I'm going to live, that I'm going to enjoy and embrace every moment that I have left.
It sounds very familiar to my story because I moved out, left my relationship of 21 years at the very beginning of COVID. And COVID was only supposed to be for a few weeks, and then it went to a year, and then it's still going on. So I had to find ways to reinvent myself. It shut down my business. It shut down me doing hair. It shut down me seeing my friends. There's definitely no way to date going through that. So I had to do kind of what you did and completely reinvent myself or reinvent what my life was going to be. And I did the writing, and we started the podcast, and I've started a book. I'm doing, it seems like very similar things to you, to what you've gone through. The good thing about that is that you get to create yourself all over again with nobody telling you how or what you need to be or how you need to be it. And I think that for me has been so liberating and freeing because I didn't feel like I was free. I was so busy taking care of everything and everybody, I'd forgotten to take care of myself. And so when I did start doing that, it opened doors and changed things. But it wasn't for the faint of heart. It was a hard process. And to do it alone was even harder.
Oh yeah. The doing it alone part got it for me because I'm a very social person.
Me too.
I grew up in a big family and I've always had people around me. I always had the 4-door cards to make sure as many people fit in it as possible.
Me too.
I always kind of had my little clique and my little entourage, and it was all revolved around my girlfriend at the time. We were the life of the party. We had our shit together. We had our work together, had our kids and had our home. We threw the parties. We hosted everything. We were the life of the party until we couldn't handle being the life of the party anymore. And, that's a separate conversation for a separate time. But everything was revolved around me and her. It was always me and her. And then leaving the relationship again, family, everybody involved just did not want to be involved at the end. It was just the rudest awakening back to reality. And I was alone a lot. But I think I needed it. I think it did me well in the end. And now I choose my peace over anything. I don't like to insert myself into any subject or into any place or any type of space, whether it's mental or physical, if I can't bring something positive to it or get something positive out of it. And that it's the hardest part. It's definitely a fight. It's a struggle, especially with everything going on in the world today. I put my head down 1,000 times and, I don't cry to sleep no more, but it still gets lonely. But again, I mean, we need to promote that there's got to be a light at the end of this tunnel. You know,
absolutely.
As long as we're given other chances or given another chance and another chance, we need to take it and embrace it and do what we can with it. When I die, I want to know that I was on my way to something.
Right. There's so many things when you close the door that they could open to you. And it's amazing to me, being that I didn't think my life was going to be anything what it is right now. And I was always told that I couldn't be or shouldn't be certain things that now all of a sudden I am, and didn't even see it coming. It was just the way life works. You know, it was what happened at the time. And just being able to drop the facade of being who you need to be because of who you're with or what your title is while you're with a person, just to drop all of that and not care and let people do what they were going to do and just watch them and be on a ride. That to me has been so liberating and freeing. And it's helped my friends to do things that they wouldn't have done otherwise, because I encourage all the madness, every bit of it. But on the other hand, it allows me a forum to be completely me too.
Yeah. I'm one of them people that would always put everybody else above me. I mean, I had to. Growing up in a household with just my mom, going to school during the day and to get a degree and working night shifts. I was the oldest of 5. I had to take care of them. I was paying bills and cooking at 11 years old. I had to grow up really fast, and I always put everybody else first. And I kind of took that into my adulthood. And I realized that you can't be anything to anybody if you're not yourself. You know,
I agree.
You have it has to be about you first. Otherwise, you can't be who you are to anybody else. And it's really hard to face when you're such an unselfish person by nature. But again, it's something that it should have been taught to me a lot earlier, a lot more clear. But can't really do anything about that now. Just gotta roll with the punches and roll with what I know now.
I don't think the generation before us was meant to be like that. The generation before us was, you need to do this, you need to have that, you need to take care of this. And that's what they did. That's what they were taught. So that's what they taught us. But what we learned from this generation is, okay, but it makes sense to do all that, but can we do it being us? Do we have to do we have to cover up? I remember in the beginning when people had earrings and piercings, like you have to cover them up if you're going to go to work. You can't have a tattoo unless it's covered up. You can't, just so many things. And now I walk around and nurses have full sleeve tattoos and nose piercings and cheek piercings. And, everybody is more open to being themselves now than when I was younger. When I was younger, it was like, don't tell anybody, don't talk about it. My dad just told me the other day, he said, do me a favor, just don't tell anybody. He's not going to tell me not to do something, but he's going to tell me not to tell anybody. And I'm like, but that's the best part of me, Dad, this stupid shit that I'm telling you now, like that makes me who I am. We should be able to talk about it, not care what other people think and say. And he goes, but the bad thing about you is you get judged more than any person I know. And you know what? I believe that to be true because I know who he knows. And I know that in life, I do get judged, but I think I get judged because I am so bold and I do own things. And I do what I'm going to do with no apologies. And I think that now that we're the generation that needs to be teaching, we need to make sure the kids know that that's okay. But there's still consequences for all of it.
Yeah, with a moral compass, but yeah, I mean, I'm in complete agreement. I've always been the one like that too, that was always just judged always because I was the one that would say it.
Yeah.
I would say the things people
That's not
wouldn't.
me.
I would make a joke out of certain things, but at the end of the day, I was always me. I wore my dirt on my sleeve right underneath my heart. People can take that. They can use it to see the real you, or they can use it to create whatever they want out of you. And that's the dangers, that's what comes along with it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I've learned that we're going to be judged no matter what. I just assume the worst when it comes to talking and all that. And at the end of the day, what does it do for me? Does it pay my bills? Does it put a smile on my face? I have to put energy into the things that bring light to my life. I have to count the blessings, not the mistakes. I learned how to take a lesson out of every L that I, have taken in life. But you have to take some L's before you get that W. And I think just the path to the W is the actual W. You're winning so long as you can wake up in the morning and you don't have to have a reason to smile. You're just smiling. You're just at peace. And I'm at peace in mayhem. I love being around people. I'm a people watcher. I will be the one dancing in public. I like to randomly embarrass you at stores. I'll create a whole scenario of, I'm with a girlfriend at the store. She's just my friend. And well, this is why we're getting a divorce, create a scene just for laughter.
Oh my God. I love that. I do the same.
I think it's important. I do the worst. They hate it, but they love it, and at the end of the day, I can always be that ear too. I always have so much to say now because there's just so much on my mind. I've experienced so much. I feel like I finally broke through to myself, and I want to tell everybody, I want to show everybody, but then how do you do it without overdoing it? And I'm still trying to find that balance, but at the end of the day, that's for me to find. It's not for anybody else. The comments and TikToks about me being too much or just the snotty, less positive comments. I don't pay attention to them. You can't. I have friends that have asked me, you're not going to say nothing back? Or why? I mean, it's pointless.
You can't fix stupid.
And I'm going to do what I'm doing. Yeah, you really can't.
You can't. You just got to ignore it and walk away. You could try.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what's going on with this world, but I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Keep going.
I was going to say, I just don't know what's going on with this world. The war doesn't, the war that's going on, I don't know much about it because I've spent time here with myself fighting my own wars. But it just doesn't surprise me. I mean, the news, I haven't watched the news in forever, and I feel like I could turn it on and already know what's going on. I feel like that the opposition is there, and it's just our job to fight through it. So, I mean, we got to work together however we can. Positive distractions.
I agree with that. What were you going to say, Rob?
Oh, I don't know now. I think at the end of the day,
I can be a chatterbox. I've been alone for a while.
No, you came to the right place. We can all talk. I kind of agree with what you're saying. I mean, there's ways of, you have to try to find your positive, whatever that is. I think, waking up in the morning for some people is the most positive thing in the world. And to others, it's the worst thing that can happen in the world. So I think that it's finding whatever it is that your thing is. I'm a writer as well. So I've wrote several books and this podcast obviously is an outlet. But you have to find what it is that's in your heart to get through the day and hopefully help other people get through the day. Relationship wise, I got divorced many years ago. So I'm kind of out of that thing, but I totally feel with what Tina's going through because I've been there. So and it's not a hard thing. And you have young kids. My kid is now 19 and working and doing his own thing. So you have that part of your life that can keep you positive. Young people and kids will keep you positive. They'll also give you a lot of gray hair. So it's finding that mix of you want to scream because your kids are driving you bonkers, but sometimes they're the only things that are keeping you positive or keeping you on track without going off of it. So yeah, I totally agree with you in that you have to find whatever it is being positive is for you. Because it's not easy.
Yeah. I agree. And the good thing about breakups,
the most important thing is
Go
ahead, Tina.
It's okay, Eddie. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say the most important thing is to never stop trying to find what works. I mean, I've dealt with so many friendships and so many things in my life where we try what we're familiar with or one thing that we're told and we give up on trying because that doesn't work. We'll try something else. Just never stop looking for what works. And you have to leave your comfort zone. You have to leave your comfort zone to do it.
I think that COVID
in the madness.
COVID taught us all how to manage life being uncomfortable. I really think it did, because I don't know one person that's been comfortable going through all of this.
Mm-mm. I mean, I've probably had a pretty comfortable ride through it only because I never stopped working. Thank goodness, because I think that's what really put the thumb screws to people is not being able to go outside, not being able to see the people that they work with every day, not being able to see their friends or family. I know people who hadn't seen their family in a year, and it's quite, we locking human beings up does not work. It makes people go batty. And that's why, when people go to prison, you come out a whole different person, because being locked away is not good for human beings. We're social animals. So, and I think you're right, Tina, being this last 2 years, almost 3 now, has just been so destructive to the human psyche.
And it's across the board. I think it's everybody. And I mean, from kids, they can't socialize now to adults that won't leave their house. Like, everybody's been affected by this, and relationships have taken a big hit. I mean, depression, divorce, abuse, everything is up because addiction, because we've had to find ways to cope. And unfortunately, when you can't see other people, the coping skills they go to other things. So they're not always that positive.
Not realize it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not always easily realized until you're smacked in the face with it. I mean, I've seen a lot of people change for the worst over this pandemic. Yeah. It really is unfortunate.
Yeah, I have a friend who, after 10 years, broke up with somebody because being locked away every single day with the same person, where you're used to having that break of going to work. And then, you're trying to put things back together in a world that's not regular. So you're fighting these, for one, you're seeing each other all the time. You're bickering and arguing. There's no place to escape now because you can't leave your house, or you can't go see this person, or you can't do that. So trying to find positivities inside of that are difficult. And I think that if you can find something and then push that on to somebody else as well, we're going to get out of this crazy world, whatever we're going to call it these days. We're going to get out of it. It's just a matter of how people will take to getting out of it. You have to want to. And these people who obviously think we're continuing to get sick, or we're doing this, or we're doing that, it's going to be hard. We're pushing against a 3-year battle. So that's the hard part.
But I know in 3 years, I'm not the same.
It didn't hit me until this year.
Yeah. The thing is 3 years, nobody's going to be the same in 3 years, period. And so add whatever we've all gone through and however we've dealt with it to it. it's made it even more of a difference. But, in dealing with everything that we went through and stuff, you have to look for the positive. You have to find what makes you happy. You have to do what brings you joy. And if the relationship isn't good anymore, it's a time to not be in it. It's a time to take a stand. It's a time to do something about it. If something was really good, it's a time to really put some attention to it and make it better and work on it and make it what you need it to be for the next 3 years. This wasn't a pause on life, although we had to pause many things, but finding ways to be happy and grow and adjust and live. I think I've watched a lot of people do it, and it inspires me because it has been hard and difficult, and everybody's had their own drama with things. But I still feel like I get inspired by almost everybody I know because I see how they change, and I look at the outcomes. And fortunately for my crowd of people, everybody is doing better than ever. So we decided to stick together, be positive, make things happen, encourage each other, support each other. And now I'm looking at a tighter tribe from me because I've become a better person. I've rolled things up and fixed things that I needed to fix. And it's forced people around me to do the same thing. So we all come up together. And I've enjoyed that part of the ride. I mean, it hasn't all been miserable, but it has not been easy either.
Nope, it sure hasn't. One thing I keep saying was with this whole COVID thing, the silver lining, the good thing out of it is the majority of us, the population, we all needed our house cleaned. We all needed this breath of fresh air for us that got time off of work. We needed the time to go home and go sweep up everything we done slept under the rug, that we didn't have time to face. We had to go through our closets and filter out those demons and face those skeletons. And we all needed our house cleaned. We all needed the sheets changed, at least. You have time. You were given time. It may not, have been what you wanted initially, but use it, maximize it in some way to tidy up a bit. And that's for soul and, soul, body, and mind. Mm-hmm. I kept telling myself I was going to have a 6-pack by the time I got out of this. Well, maybe not there, but the mind is definitely working out. That's why I said, what am I doing with my time? I should be going to school at least. Mm-hmm. I should learn an instrument. I've been learning guitar, the keyboard. I'm playing with music on and off. It's not even something I saw myself doing, but it's entertaining and I'm learning things. We should all be doing something like that to grow a little.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. And then I think that's the hard part too, for a lot of people is people who were chasing dreams either gave up on them or pushed forward on them. Thankfully, a lot of people did push forward and found whatever that niche was that they were looking to do, or at least stuck their toes in the water. It's like been trying to do this podcast for quite a while, and lo and behold, things find their way of happening. So I think that's kind of the good part. But unfortunately, there's a lot of people who lost that battle and are still losing it. I mean, I saw some things on the news today. There was like some girl, TikToker, actually 22-year-old, died. Now, I'm guessing an overdose because the article I read, her dad talked about her having substance abuse problems. But there's a lot of people who are losing that battle that can't take it. And I think it's, we have to lasso those people and try to find something to bring them back up to the top, because there are people that are still drowning out there. This is messed up people's mindsets so bad that they don't know how to get out of it. And a lot of people won't seek help or some kind of therapy. So
what do you think that we should say to tell people to do to start changing their momentum?
I think
I
that's
would say
the first
to
thing is
start.
therapy.
Oh yeah.
I
In
mean,
what
friends,
form though?
obviously.
Because a lot of people fear therapy. The therapy can be so many things.
Well, yeah, I think that's true. So
I
it's
think
Are
finding
I
you
what
think
works.
just
talking about like therapy,
I think a lot of people need
like doctor
therapy to deal
therapy?
with their demons and stuff. But I also think, during COVID, I don't want to say a sewing circle. I'm Native American. And my cousin knew how to make pine needle baskets. So now there's 7 of us that get together every other weekend on a Sunday afternoon. And we sit and we talk and we shoot the shit and we eat food and then we do our pine needle baskets. So we're starting like a sewing circle, like my grandmother used to do a sewing circle. And just starting to support each other in just being together and being happy. I think that there's therapy comes in all different forms. I know I sit behind a chair talking to people all day long. They get whatever therapy they're going to get from me on a daily. Is it an educated clinical form of therapy? No, but I've lived a life and I've gone through several things, so I know how to kind of ease their burden or talk to them a little bit. So I think that helps a lot too.
I think relation is important. I mean, just finding some way to relate because we don't always have the answers. And the people that are searching, that are in dire need of answers, immediate answers, they're not trained to actually hear the answers that they're looking for because they don't even know the questions that they're asking. Just to find a way to relate whenever you have a moment to, a simple reach out, a simple story, to bring up something that will spark something in them that something they can take out of it. Because the only thing we can do here on earth as humans is trade information, right? It's the only thing we truly share. Love, any type of, it's all information. How it's perceived and how it's received is not your, not your job. It's just your job to give whatever you can.
I agree with that. I totally agree with that. Rob, you look like you're going to say something.
No, I kind of agree. I think therapy is its own. It comes in many forms. I mean, obviously, we get in the ear of our friends, or we get in the ear of our coworkers, and that's small therapy. And even that can stop you from doing something utterly crazy. Thank goodness. But yes, I think people are afraid of clinical therapy, if that's what we want to call it. Going to see a doctor, going to do this, because I think there's such a stigma behind it that if you're going to therapy, there's something wrong with you. And I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think that, some of us just need to talk to somebody who has no opinion of who they are. So, and I think that's where therapy, clinical therapy works. You get to go in, and most of the time they won't tell you you're right or wrong. They just want to listen. The point of that is sometimes to vent so you don't do the crazy shit like jump off a building or put a gun in your mouth. So, hopefully you step by step go to whatever will get you there first. Friendship obviously works, but friends sometimes can't read people. I had a good friend who unfortunately overdosed in his house, and we knew he had an issue, and we knew that he was pushing towards it, but nothing could stop it. We tried, and he unfortunately, passed away from it. But I'm sure if we would have pushed, you need help, he would have pushed away. People need, the therapy thing. And I'm not a doctor, and obviously we never say we are on this show. We have opinions, but some people need that extra step of having someone who's clinically trained to listen to them. So I just say, to be positive, is find which one works for you. If you're having a problem, and you think your friend can help, because I think I have friends I can really talk to and say really personal shit to. That's usually my first step. I've never seen a clinical doctor, but I've been told I probably should. So, I think it's
I didn't tell
thing.
you that, by the way. I would never tell you.
No, it wasn't you. It wasn't you, but it was.
Somebody's
friends
trying to fit their foot in the shoe.
No, I've been to therapy. I had my daughter in therapy for years. I think that therapy is important to be able to talk to people, but if you're not working the steps to make yourself better and to fix what's broken, therapy's just a place for you to pass some time. So as much as I am a believer in therapy, I did like and enjoy when I was in it. I think that people need to, if they're going to go to therapy, they need to start being honest with themselves, and they need to start doing the work that they need to do to be better. I think that there's, even before therapy, there's a lot of things that we could do. Like you talked about singing and dancing, turning on music and letting your body just be alive. That puts the endorphins out that makes you happier, or joking with friends, or telling a story, sharing thoughts, like just spending time, things like that change a person's feelings. My mom used to tell me that if you could stop your friend for 15 minutes while they're saying they want to kill themselves, if you could just keep them talking for 15 minutes, the chances of them doing it are slim to none. Why are they slim to none? Because emotion is an energy, and it changes and it evolves, and it's an up and down thing. And normally within a range of about 15 minutes, you could kind of reason with a person, or they may not do it if they could get through that time, because you'll have time to process it and see what you're doing and see how you need to change your attitude. I really think that as people, we need to start being there for each other so that we can get that 15 minutes of hope out there, and we can start making a difference and changing the way people feel, because everybody that's on this earth is on for a reason. Like, we're here to either learn, we're here to teach, we're here to grow, we're here to love, we're here to live. And none of that means that we should end our life soon or stay miserable and not live. The whole point of being here is to live.
Yeah, completely agree. I enjoy and embrace the little things in life. I mean, I finally went from living a fast-paced life and, working 16-hour days to stopping and enjoying scenery. I'd pull off of the freeway, pull off of the road, and sit and just thank God for the view that I'm seeing. A patch of flowers, a patch of trees, the most random things that just, I was finding beauty in everything. I feared the beach. I don't like the ocean. It's something I always feared. So that's why I went there head on. I decided to be at the beach every day and be scared. And like I said, insert myself into discomfort, so that I can learn and grow from it. And, yeah, I mean, to stop somebody for 15 minutes. I heard about that too. I had a friend that was going through that suicidal cycle for a while, and it becomes heavy on your heart when you're somebody that can see it and you don't know what to do about it. But just trying to find some type of relation, just try to be an ear, or distract them in some type of positive way. It could save their life.
Because the world would be so different.
And say, you don't want to look back and say, they were on my mind. I wanted to reach out. I should have said something. We can't wait until it's too late.
You can't.
I agree with that.
Yeah, those are the things that just weigh on you for a long time, because it weighed on me. But on the flip side of that, I think that I've done the same to help people. So, and
you got to remember, we could only be who we are to that person. What the person does when they're not around us, when they're not telling us what's going on, that's not on us. We just got to be the best person that we could be to every single person we come into contact with, and hope that we've done enough. But with free will, everybody's going to do what they're going to do. It's just the way it is.
Yeah, it's listening. I think, that if you can do your best to listen and hope that they say something that pops in your head that makes you say something positive to them, or that if they're looking for something, you can hopefully find that. It's like Eddie said, I think you have to look beyond the horizon sometimes. The flowers are only 6 feet away, but the hills are prettier and you can see it in that. And then there's the ocean, or there's this, whatever it is that drives you towards that. It's like, I'm kind of the same way. I usually write better when I'm depressed. My best writing is when I'm down. So it's, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, people were like, "Oh, are you still writing?" I'm like, "No, I'm good." And they're like, "Wow." I'm like, I'm happy. So there's those things. It's the same with music or whatever. Like, the best songs are generally written out of depression, but a lot of those songs end up helping people because they're showing you that you're not alone. And I think that's the biggest thing, is to make sure to tell people they're not alone. That's the biggest, most positive thing we can say, is that, don't take it this far because of this. You're not alone. I went through the same kind of thing. You're going to get through it. Those are the ways that we can make a positive day and positive people.
And I think keeping a sick sense of humor when there isn't anything to be happy about, or there isn't anything that's going to create happiness. I mean, I have made fun of things I had no business making fun of. And that's helped too. You gotta find find what you need to get you up and moving every day. And whether it be good, bad, indifferent, you just have to find that.
Yeah, I got a really sick sense of humor.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Same here. I can joke about anything, and I usually get in trouble around people.
I get in a lot of trouble.
I mean, it's just the lie. Hey, you laughed. If you laugh, if it distracted you, if it changed your momentum of what that thought process you couldn't get out of it, if it shook you enough, then I did my job.
Absolutely.
Sometimes we need that. We need something inserted that is powerful. The little Tylenol ain't going to work. We need a shot in the veins. You know what I mean? We need something quick, hard, and fast. And like I said, you got to find whatever that is. There's so many different ways to do it. I do it a lot with music, jokes, and random dances or random looks with people. I feel like I gained momentum I could snap anybody out of a bad mood. And I've hit my challenges with people, especially after COVID, where it's just, oh my God, you're taking too much energy from me right now. But you know what? I'm not going to stop trying. Hey, did you hear this joke? Look at that guy, start joking about somebody else and play Hanson bop in the car really loud with the windows down and make them sing along to it. They know the lyrics. That's like my favorite go-to happy songs.
They know the lyrics.
I'll play it with I don't care if you're a gang member or it doesn't matter who you are. If you're in my car, we're listening to Mbop with the windows down.
That's funny. But I've been there and done that. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. On that note, humor is everything.
Yes. But on that note, we're getting to the end of our podcast. So Rob, do you want to do the...
Oh, yes. As you know, you can always get a hold of us on the Apple, the Spotify, the Google, the Amazon, and iHeartRadio, because we're on there every Wednesday. And, we've been doing really, really well these days. We've actually got Belgium to us now, because we are what, Tina? What are we?
We are worldwide.
So,
we also need to have Eddie tell us how we can follow him so that he could, so that our listeners could hear more from him.
Where can we find you, sir?
Well, I'm on Instagram at Real Eddie Rey. That's REY. EDDIEREY, Real Eddie Rey, or TikTok, Real Eddie Rey as well. I'm finally released all my stuff in private, so I'm open and free to the public. I'm also an ambassador for a clothing brand now called Habits 365. They promote good habits every day of the year. So that's going to be trending soon. I'm doing some promotions, some pictures and videos to promote healthy habits. So you'll see me on their website, habits365.com.
Very
awesome.
Nice.
Well, on that, this show is an opinion show, so don't get it twisted. Just keep on tuning in because we enjoy doing this. You can catch us on Facebook, Instagram, sometimes Twitter, and you can email us at DGTTwisted@gmail.com. And make sure you get in your emails and messages to us because we are still giving away coffee. So make sure you hit us up there.
And in 2 weeks on not this Saturday, but the following Saturday, which would be March is it the 20? No, the 19th.
I think by the time they hear this, though, it's already going to be past.
Oh, okay. We won't talk about it then.
But we would have already had a party show. So it'll be a fun one. You've already listened to it and you've already been part of it. So it's all good because you got to love recording because you never know what you're going to forget that you end up doing in the past. But on that, make sure you tune in every Wednesday, at least for right now. Hopefully we'll be doing 2 shows at some point, but we got to get our viewership up. So make sure you email us, go to our Instagram and do all that fun stuff. Check the show notes because there's always something special in there for everybody. Until next week. Thank you, Mr. Eddie Rey.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for having me.
And for my co-host,
You're welcome.
Tina, it's always a pleasure. We'll see you next week.
Good night.
Night.